Good, 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 good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Each and everybody watching me, each and everyone around the world. Guys, Denzel Moses back. Now, this is going to be a bit interesting today. So we're going to talk about the effects of COVID-19. So, I mean, the lockdown, the COVID-19 situation, what we learn from it, where do we go from here, whatever has been unfolding, what we know, what we don't know. So, I mean, we're going to discuss a lot of things. But before I carry on, I want to appreciate each and everyone watching me. I want to appreciate my friends. I want to appreciate all the guys out there who in work, who is in bed, who is in the gym, who is having a walk. It's rainy, so there's nowhere I would go outside. There's no, it's actually raining outside, so I just decided that let me just do this video at home. Let me just make the video at home is more convenient for me because I know. I mean, I usually do my videos with the phone, so I mean, I can't just like be holding the phone and at the same time holding the umbrella, so it doesn't make sense. So I just had to to do the video at home. So guys, COVID-19, the lessons learned. We're going to fact check everything. Now let's start the day with the let's start the subject. For example, you get up in the morning and you think that you need groceries in the shops. So because most of us have been allowed to go do the basic things, do the shoppings, and maybe sometimes do a one-time exercise, one-off exercise in the morning, during the day. So we have been allowed to, one way or the other, be able to go out. But of course, it's not for longer periods of time. But we've been allowed somewhere somehow to be able to go out and do some one or two things with us, maybe gym, maybe shopping. So we've been allowed to do that. So, but then we're going to do fact check and something that we actually don't. We might have tended to skip or to ignore during the COVID-19, the lessons learned, and we're fact checking all the details. So wake up in the morning, you go out there. So as you're walking out now, as you're walking down, for example, you live on a flat or something, so you're walking downstairs, you're leaving the house and you're going down, maybe you want to go to the shops, wherever you want to go. So you realize that now there's a certain couple who is living downstairs. And for some reason, you are hearing something like they look like they're fighting, or there's a fighting going on, or there are some screams going on. So it's like people are fighting down there. And then you may be curious, so you may want to just hang on somewhere just to hear what's going on. So they're going to be fighting and screaming and throwing things around and arguing and doing all those kind of things. So you may hear, you may or you may not. So this depends, but we're just fact checking things, right? So then you're going to actually, as you're going to be listening to the conversations going on, you're going to realize that actually those people probably they hate each other. They've been living together for a very long time and long periods of time, but actually they hate each other. So the fact check, if I was me, what I would get from that is that before the COVID-19, people have been living together, but actually they have not been able to understand each other. They have not been able to make their partners their best friends. So they have not been able to identify exactly who the person who is this person they're living with. So they have been actually living together for so many periods of time, but because there's not been any situation that brings them together for some period of time, they weren't able to put their relationship on friendly level. So they have just been like, the man gets up, he goes to work. The woman gets up, she goes somewhere. The man gets up, he goes to work. They come together, they have a dinner, they go to bed. So the cycle goes on and on. But then they have not been able to actually strengthen their relationship on friendship level. So they have actually not been loving or really liking each other in real sense. But for long periods of time, they've been living together and they have not been able to identify that actually they're probably not happy together. So you just hear people fighting, you just people screaming, they are shouting, because actually to really emphasize on that, to add some more emphasis on that, recently we've got some the law enforcement in our areas. They have been dropping some leaflets around the houses, and they have been trying to make us aware of some domestic violence domestic violences that actually happening around our areas, our neighborhoods. So they've been telling us to be aware. If we hear anything going on, we should alert them, because people, so many people are struggling in their houses because of this COVID-19 situation. So because of this lockdown, people are like getting bored of each other. People are just waking up to fight. People are just waking up to argue, fighting, screaming, doing. So we've been told to be aware of that situation. But then the fact check in this whole thing is that people have been living together for many years, 19, 20 years, I don't know, whatever. But actually, they've never liked each other. They've never had the situation whereby they're now sitting together in the same house, in the same area for a very long period of time, non-stop. So that's when they are actually going to be able to discover each and every other's true colors, each and every other's weaknesses, the real true colors, the person they've been living with. So you're going to realize that the fact check in this is actually that at the end of this COVID-19, you're going to find that, when this whole thing goes down, with this whole thing, when the lockdown is lifted up, eventually you're going to realize that actually people are going to start be separating, because they're going to realize that these are not the people they're supposed to be with. Fact check number 1. 2. So you keep on your journey. You go, you walk down to out of the house, and so as soon as you open the door to get out of the house, you're going to realize that each and everyone in front of you is wearing a mask. So you're going to see people wearing the mask. So actually, you may even pass your neighbor, you may pass somebody you really know. You may not be able to recognize them. You know what I mean? And even if you recognize them, you're not going to be able to communicate with them, because there's that thing of the social distance, whereby people are actually fearing and afraid of each other. They are fearing to communicate with each other, because they think that one of them may be having that kind of they may be having the COVID. So one way or the other, they are going to be afraid to talk to each other. They're going to be afraid to communicate, because they think, I cannot talk with him, or I cannot talk with that one, because maybe they have a COVID or something. So everybody's wearing a mask. People don't recognize each other. People are just like passing each other. Sometimes even people you just have to pass them. And even if you want to talk to them, even if you recognize them and you know them, you want to talk with them, you cannot talk to them. So that is some kind of a social distance. The fact check with this whole thing is that people are now actually going to start separating. People are separating from each other, and people are starting to make that distance from each other. You know what I mean? So one way or the other, there's a very big gap, and the life will never be the same, because there's that big gap whereby we don't want, and we cannot actually contact the people we used to know. Fact check number 2. Fact check number 3. You continue your journey well, you go to the shop. So as you're in the shop there, you do your shopping, you buy whatever you want to buy, you buy this, you buy that. So when you reach at the end of the counter, you want to pay for the groceries you've been buying. For example, you've been in a supermarket or what, so you want to pay for the groceries you've been buying. Then that's when you're going to realize that there's no money in your bank card. There's no money. You don't have any money left on your card. Simply because fact check number 3 is because you've lost your income. You know what I mean? So because there's a lockdown, so you're not working anymore, you don't have any job, so you don't have any source of income. But maybe you may not have taken notice of it during the lockdown, but as the time goes on, you just go to the shop and you just find yourself, actually you've lost your income. You do not have any more income, so there's no other means to survive. So that's the fact check, actually, that people have actually lost their jobs. People have lost their jobs. Of course, not everybody. Some people are still in work, one way or the other. Some people work from home, but most of the people actually, they have lost their jobs. So you do not have any source of income. So, well, then you think, okay, I'm going to go back home. So you turn around, go back to your house. Now, then you think that, okay, well, since I don't have income, so I don't have any ways to survive. I don't have income, I don't have money, I don't have a job, or you don't have something. But so you're going to decide to call a friend. Think, okay, maybe I know somebody going to help me with some cash, or he may help me with some whatever it is, he may be of some assistance to you. So that's when actually, when you call somebody now and ask for their help, oh, I need some help with this, I need some help with money, I need some help with food, or I need some help with that. So you're going to call up some people, trying to get some help. Maybe you try just a guy trying to feed your family. And then to your shock, that person is going to give you a hand. But remember that for the last 10 or 15 years or whatever, you've never called each other and you've never actually communicated with each other. So all of a sudden you've called him and he has accepted to give you some aid, or maybe he's going to give you some money. There are so many cases where we've seen actually people coming out. We've never seen people actually giving out money, but for the first time in decades, they're actually giving out money. They are calling people, hey, you know what, maybe you need some money, or there's sometimes I've seen even some people online trying to give out some, some small cash to help people who need some food, or trying to help out people. So for that reason, actually, the fact check in that case is that we're going to realize that actually the person you never really believed that would help you out is now the person offering to give you a hand. What is the fact check in that? People are gaining deep levels of empathy. So all of a sudden, because people now like all in tune with themselves, people all starting to calm down, people all starting to get out that empathetic side of them. They are now even starting to help even people they don't even know. So you're going to realize that actually the people who did not expect that they will help you out in one way or the other, they're actually starting to help you out. So that's the fact check, that actually people are starting to get deep levels of empathy, whereby they're now starting to come out and to be nice and to be helpful, to be aiding to people, trying to help them one way or the other. That's when you're going to realize that actually people are gaining a deep level of empathy. So one way or the other, you sit down on your phone, check on your phone, you're scrolling through your social media, and that's when you're going to realize that you're going to check out your phone, you're going to be browsing through your messages, or you'll be browsing through your media, checking out your pages. That's when you're going to realize that actually there's a certain friend of yours that you used to know. They are doing a live video. They are doing a live video. Maybe they are dancing, maybe they are reading a poem, maybe they are singing a song, maybe they are, maybe they're playing a guitar, maybe they are playing they're making a certain joke or doing some fun on the media. So you're going to actually realize the fact checking that whole thing is that actually people are starting to discover their talents. Probably they have got these talents before and they don't even know about, but because of this lockdown, so they're like sitting at home, doing nothing. So they are, sometimes they're getting bored and they're like, oh, I used to know this kind of dance. I used to do yoga before 20 years ago. I used to do this 30 years ago. So they're actually starting to come out. Somebody even used to play guitar for many years ago and they didn't even know that they can actually really play good guitar. And they're now coming out and discovering their talents. They're starting to, step up in their talents, express what they have, and, bring it out there and show it to the world. So fact check in that is that people are now recovering their talents. They are rediscovering themselves and the things they can do to society. So as you're sitting down at home, that's when you're going to think about actually your life. You're going to have that peace to think and to reflect about your life, to reflect about the last 30 years of your life, the last 20 years of your life, the last 15, 20, 35 years. And that's when you're going to realize that actually I've been so confused with this job for a very long period of time, but I think in this time now people are able to reflect on their careers. People are able to reflect. People have now the peace and the calmness to reflect on their careers. And they're thinking that actually I probably need a job change, maybe I need a new career. I've been doing nursing for 5 years. I've been a mechanic for the last 10 years, but maybe that's not the thing for me, because now during this lockdown, that's where they actually now start to wake up and, trying to think about, maybe I need to change my work. Maybe I've been doing this thing for a long time. And because there have been all these kind of, movements and all this kind of busy, the schedule and the timetables and the schedule. So they've been jumping, or every now and then they've been jumping in and out of their jobs, and they have not been able to sit down and to discover exactly do they really not, do they actually really need that job they have been doing for the last 20 years. And now people are going to start to realize that actually I never really loved that job. I've been always trying to think that maybe I need to change something, I need to do something new, I need to, I need to change a career. Probably you've been doing a job, but that job is not your career. It's just a job for survival. It's a 9 to 5, so you're just getting like paycheck to paycheck. But at the end of the day, during the lockdown, you're just sitting down there thinking that, well, maybe it's that time I need to change a job. It's that time I need to change something new. Maybe I need to find a new job. I need to do something. I need to pursue a new career in something that makes me happy, something that can actually feed my family, that can make me fulfilled. So people are now actually starting to switch their careers. Fact check is that actually people are now starting to overthink and actually are starting to get a new perception that they need to change their careers. It's time to change their careers and they want to get out of their jobs. So now we've been having, there's been this tradition going on in the UK. I think some other countries have been doing that tradition whereby we've been getting out to, some people, there's a certain time like at 8 o'clock, people have been clapping, getting out and just like clapping for the NHS, clapping for the NHS, appreciating them for their jobs they're doing, saving lives and helping people out there, the efforts they've been putting themselves out, the risk they've been getting involved with, getting out there and saving lives, helping people, putting themselves on the front line in the face of this COVID-19. So we have been having this tradition whereby we've been getting out and clapping for them and appreciating them and feeling good about them and to encourage them, to make them feel happy, to give them to brighten up their days, to keep the smile on their face. So we've been having that tradition whereby we've been getting out, some of us on the balconies, some of us on their windows, some of us in front of our houses, and we've been clapping for them and encouraging them to keep on doing the good work. And then that's when now you're clapping. As you're clapping, you get out of the house and you start clapping. That's when you're going to realize that actually there's a certain neighbor of yours you didn't even know. You've been living together on that same block or probably on that same vicinity for very, very many years. But you never actually seen those guys. So for the first time in so many years, 10, 20 years, you're getting out to clap and then you're just going to look on the side and you're going to see a certain guy and you're going to think like, well, I've never seen this guy, I've never seen this man, I've never seen this woman. And that's when actually you're going to start wanting to get to know them, because the lockdown now has started to bring people together for one way or the other. People are starting to get together, people are starting to know each other. Actually, there was a neighbor there was a neighbor living next to you, but for the last 10, 15 years, you've even never said hello. You've always just been running in and out of the house, going to your jobs or going to wherever you're going. But then you never actually really, really knew that you had a neighbor that you actually didn't really know. What is the fact check in this is, that's when you realize that actually you've been living in a community and actually you didn't even know the people next to you. So guys, this is very strange, but well, there's lots of lessons to learn. There's lots of things to learn. There's lots of this some kind of, I can call it like a global reset button. So everything is now like being reset. People are being reset. The whole world is being reset. Finances are being reset. Friendships are being reset. It's like the reset button is actually getting pushed and people are actually now starting to rediscover themselves all over again. And I really think that at the end of this the world will never be the same, because the whole world as we all knew it, is actually going to be something very different at the end of this lockdown. And we're all going to discover that it is not that exact world that we used to know. Everything is starting and resetting and restarting again. Guys, lovely day. Beautiful, beautiful, lovely day. As you continue the lockdown, those who are going to work, I know some people have been allowed to go back to their jobs, to go back to work. I still wish you well. Those who are still in lockdown, I hope everything goes well. And for this message, I hope some of you are watching, you learn one or two things from it. Been your boy Denzomos. As always, I always love you. Stay well, stay fit, stay safe, and peace out. Bye.